Hello, my dear friends. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back. My name is Sarita, and I have a huge haul for you today from the company Root Candle, which hails from Medina, Ohio. And I have reviewed a couple of their candles before this point. I have been stocking up though recently. Macy's, they sell these on Macy's.com, at least for the present. And they had been running various different sales over the last couple months. And I was able to get these beautiful 3-wick. These are their largest ones. I think they're called like a beehive maybe or something. And they're 3 wicks, as you can see. So these go for, I know on the website itself, they go for about $28. I think on the Macy's website, they go for more like $36. So I think that they charge a premium on the Macy's website, but they will also run sales on the Macy's website. So I got all of these for between like $15 to $17, which I think is a really good price for a quality beeswax blend kind of candle, because these tend to be a little on the expensive side. The vessel is gorgeous though, a beautiful thick color, thick glass that is cut like a beehive basically. And they do have these really kind of cheap clear labels, but I think they're intended to be taken off, and many of them are like curling at this point. So I definitely think they're not intended to stay on. Once you've got it, you can rip it off and just kind of see the beautiful wax. And they have beautiful colored waxes here. Oh my gosh. Anyway, close parentheses. I have 13 of these candles, which is absurd, I know, but I've been kind of acquiring them. 3 of them I had acquired previously, either on Macy's or somewhere else. So I had, and I think I mentioned them in a previous video, Bourbon Pear, which looks like this. I had Bourbon Pear, and I had Japanese Cedarwood, and I also had Tobacco Vanilla, which looks like this. And we'll talk about these because I teased them in an earlier video and said, oh, I'll burn them in the fall because they're more like fall fragrances, but I didn't really talk about them in detail. So technically speaking, I only had 10 candles, and I'm just adding these 3 to kind of talk about. Okay. So let's, without further ado, just get into them. And I'm basically just going to be giving you my first impressions, my sniff, and my, they do have beautiful blurbs on the website. They don't have listed top, mid, or bottom notes formally, but all of their blurbs are very professional, very beautiful, and very detailed. So I'm gonna give you all of those. I bought a ton of these candles from Macy's thinking I would return the ones that I didn't like because I just wanted to smell them. And of the 10, I really was only going to return 4 of them, which I think is a pretty good ratio, 6 to 4. And weirdly, as I'm smelling them now, before I did this video, I kind of switched a couple candles out. Ones that I thought I was going to return, but now I think I'm going to keep. Ones I thought I was gonna keep that maybe I'm gonna return. It's just so difficult. Anyway, if I only devoted 2 minutes to every single one of these candles, it would still be 26 minutes. So gird your loins, settle in a little bit. I'm gonna try to go as quickly as I can, but I also want you to have a good impression of what I think of these candles, because some of them smell great. A couple of them smell remarkable, and a lot of them just kind of smell blah. And for this price point, you at least want to go in knowing that it's going to be like a fairly remarkable fragrance. How they burn is a different matter, obviously. And once I do burn these, I'll be able to give you a better sense of that. Generally speaking, and I'll probably say this at the end too, but generally speaking, with the Root candles, I have found that you need to be much more patient with them. So while most candles often will have a very difficult first burn, Root candles tend to have a very difficult 3 first burns. And then past that point, get considerably better. So you have to be patient and you have to devote some time and care to those first few burns, and they may be very trying, but it will hopefully improve after that point. Also, these are really beautiful. They like, the lids snap underneath, which is just really nice. So they've got the packaging nailed. Beautiful copper lids that say root. And again, they have that beautiful like beeswax or beehive kind of. Look, they've got a little bee there too. Aww. Just to really lock in that marketing to the bees and the beeswax, because that is one of the things that makes them differ from many other candle companies. Okay, so let's start out with my favorite one of the bunch, which is actually a summer candle. So I did buy a few here that are still kind of transitional summer candles. I have a great deal of them though that are fall candles and a couple that are like deep fall candles. I decided not to get any of the Christmas ones. Can you believe it? There's still a lot of Christmas ones. I almost bought them, but I thought, no, that'll be another sale, another time. Let's just focus in on summer to fall, which is right now. These are the kinds of candles you would be buying for this season. So the first one, which is my favorite, is this one right here. And it is Coastal Sunrise. Look how gorgeous that wax is. Ah, so beautiful. It's kind of like a coral color. Coastal Sunrise. The notes on this one: waves of water lily and sea kelp, lush tropical fruits, and a touch of fresh coconut. Oh my gosh, so beautiful. So there is something very this candle is very fruity, but there is something that is not fruity, that is creamy. And it could just be a nice vanilla. It's almost going a little bit amber, but it's a beautiful, like creamy, sultry base that is almost gourmand, but kind of almost not at the same time. And then on top of it, I don't think it's sandalwood. I'm not getting a whole lot of wood, but it's that beautiful, like creamy vanilla note. And then on top of it, yeah, you do get some coconut. It's not overdone. It's not like overwhelming. And there is a vague tropical fruit. So kind of like a citrus, a kiwi, a something like that. But I would say that coconut is the most discernible of those tropical fruits. And so it's right that they kind of like emphasized it. It's a little bit powdery, a little bit creamy, but also a little bit fruity. So the fruit here is not like dripping or like that kind of a juicy fruit. It's an authentic fruit, but it's just kind of like dried and a little bit more like powdery smelling. And that may be the vanilla amber kind of note underneath it. It reminds me a little bit of Yankee Candle Golden Sands, Pink Sands, just a little bit like that, where you have the creamy and then you have like the more sharp tropical fruits. Yeah, it is so beautiful. I love it. There might be a little bit of a marine note as well, and they also say water lily. There is something vaguely marine-like about this as well. So it's just a gorgeous, beachy, summery kind of vibe. I am so hoping this burns well because I love it. Here's another beachy one, and it is Marine Salts. And look at that beautiful color too, Marine Salts. Ooh. Marine Salts is pure sea salt, bursts of sea foam and white ambergris, Mediterranean kelp, and earthy musk. This is a kind of weird scent. It's vaguely soapy, and there's like a very fresh, perfumey kind of marine note. It's like a musky marine note, but it's also like high top range and sweet. Maybe it's the ambergris, I don't know. I was gonna send this one back. I'm a little concerned because of those high, like musky, sweet notes, that it might be a little bit overpowering, no matter what its strength and throw is, and kind of give you a little bit of a headache. At any rate, I don't think that it's like brilliant enough for me to hang on to, so I was gonna return this one. I do like it a little bit better than this next one though, which is Seaside Harbor, kind of in the same genre. Look at that gorgeous blue wax. Woo! Yes. All right, so Seaside Harbor is deep marine notes, brightened with ambered musk, salted sea moss, and weathered driftwood. This one is not as justified by the scent notes. So like when I read those notes, I'm like, no, this is, now if the other one here was vaguely soapy, this is like very soapy. It's soapy, and again, there are some high notes of something that could almost be like a dried citrus. Yes, it is kind of vaguely marine-like, but I wouldn't say driftwood either. It's an odd fragrance, and like I said, more soapy than anything else. So I think I am definitely gonna return this one, and probably the one before it as well. They're just not quite as fresh or authentically marine in a way that I like. They don't go like men's cologne either, although both of them lean maybe a touch masculine, but very gently so, and with the soapiness and the perfumey quality, kind of unisexual. I don't know. All right, last summerish candle is Sugared Grapefruit, and it looks like this. I really like the way that Root not only gives us these beautiful colored waxes, but don't take it in a literal direction where it's like grapefruit. Okay, well, it definitely has to be like a pink color or a yellow color or something like that, you know? I mean, they give us something a little bit different, and I love that. And spoiler alert, the fall release from Kringle, very bad colored waxes. It's like 50 shades of brown, and it was just so literal. It was like, well, pumpkin bread is this color, so here's this color. Cinnamon rolls are this color, so here's the same color. It was just super literal, and you ended up just having like all of these brown colors. Not good. You don't need to be so literal. You want to have a nice, beautiful range of colored waxes. And usually Kringle knows how to do that. For some reason, this release was just a super miss. All right, close parentheses. Sugared Grapefruit. Notes on this are very simple. Candied citrus and effervescent grapefruit. And it is a very simple candle because that's basically what you're getting. I would say it's a little muffled, so less effervescent, less sparkling than just a really super bold, authentic citrus and grapefruit note. And that's it. But I still love it. I think it's just so bold. It's so unembarrassed. It's so authentically, I'm a grapefruit. That's it. And there's something about it that does not go cleaner like. It's very like home fragrancy and fresh and citrusy, but in a way that feels right for your house. I can't explain it as a home fragrance. And I do love grapefruits. So I'm gonna keep this one, and I'm definitely gonna be burning these two very soon. So look for reviews from these two before the end of August, obviously. All right, another one which is a little bit transitional, Teak and Orchid. Looks like this. It's kind of this lovely dusty lavender. Weird. All right, so the notes here are exotic orchids, which don't really have that much of a smell, delicate violets, which also tend to not have a whole lot of a smell, rich teak, amber sage, and blonde woods. And it smells very herby and sweet floral, like almost sugary floral. There is a little something that is floral, but I would say mostly it's like herby and sugary sweet, almost in a gourmand way. Like if herbs were sweet rather than herby. That makes no sense. It's like sugared herbs. Is that a thing? That's not a thing. It's a very weird and unique kind of smell. And I was almost gonna return this one. This is on clearance right now. They may be discontinuing this. So on the website, you can get this for like $9.99. So something to think about. If you're like getting it through their website, it's definitely easy. It's a really nice candle for 10 bucks, but it is a little on the odd side. Who would like this? I'm not sure who would like this. It is fairly sweet though. Probably a little too sweet for me, but there's something that's grounding it, and it's that herby note. There may be something vaguely wood-like about it. Weird. Blonde woods? I don't know what that note is, but maybe that's it. Odd, but I'll definitely keep it. Blackberry Honey. Look at that. Look at that deep, deep plum burgundy kind of color. Ooh. This is the one that I was going to keep, but I think now I'm going to let go. It's just too flat. It's too generic. All right, so the notes on this are tart blackberry, juicy plum, fresh cassis, sweetened by sweet golden honey, hints of musk, and vanilla bean. It's not as complex as those notes would indicate. This is really just kind of a canned berry note, like jammy berry note. And by canned, I mean it's not like fresh or botanical, or it's just kind of like a generic deep, it's a deep berry note with kind of a vague craft store spiciness about it. But like way in the background, is there spices in this? A hint of musk. Hint of musk, maybe. I don't know. It's jammy and kind of wine-like in the sense that it's like stewed berries, but also they've been canned. It's kind of flat. I don't know. I love the deep berries. You know, like Velospa, huckleberry, the Santiago huckleberry. Oh, and plums and figs. Man, I love all of those dark, jammy fruits, especially for fall when they're mixed with something like woody or musky or spicy or like, man, it can just be fantastic. This one is not fantastic. Maybe if it was burned, something else would come out of it, but I'm not going to chance it. I think I'm going to return Blackberry and Honey, but that's Blackberry and Honey, okay? Let's go to Japanese Cedarwood, which is one that I had previously. Woo! And that is a lot. I'm hoping that it says bold, like when it's burned. Japanese cedarwood. I'm sorry, I should show you. It's just this like kind of creamy white color. Again, so great that it's not literal. Okay. Japanese, this is one that you see quite a bit. It must be one of their bigger sellers, I think. Sandalwood, cedarwood. So here we are. Citrus, lavender, and sage. And I'm happy to report that those are pretty dead on notes. You've got something creamy for sure. You've got something woody, sandalwood, cedarwood. And then you've got really high like herby notes. It's a lot of wood and it's a lot of herb and it's a lot of lavender, frankly. Lavender, sage, and wood. And yes, there is a dried citrus component, but I'm happy to say it does not go like in a traditional men's cologne kind of direction. There is something also fresh and surprisingly light about the candle, which is amazing given how bold it is and how herby and how woody it is. Herbal. I should say herbal rather than herby. I think that's the proper adjectival form of herb-like. Yeah, I really like it a lot. I like it a lot. I could use maybe a little bit more austerity, but which also seems like ridiculous because with all the herbs and the wood, it's obviously austere. Maybe it's the lavender and the citrus that's brightening it up, maybe just a little bit too much for me. I don't know, but it's very, very nice. Okay, let's go to Bourbon Pear. I think a lot of people will like this one. I had this one previously, Bourbon Pear, which is this beautiful kind of mustard color for fall. So autumnal. Look at that. Okay, Bourbon Pear. It is a classic autumn blend of crisp Bartlett pear, creamy bourbon, sweetened with caramel and warmed with spices of cinnamon, clove, and tonka bean. I bet there's a lot of people that just love that list on paper, and it's pretty like faithful. Yeah, this smells like autumn. This smells like fall. And it could go generic craft store, but somehow it's elevated just a bit above that. So it's apple-like, but it's not quite apple-like enough for it to be an apple as opposed to a pear. There is something a little bit deeper register for this like fruity fruit, and a little bit more of a starchiness that lends itself well to a pear, although I wouldn't say that it's bursting out of the jar in terms of freshness or botanicalness. And for that reason, the bourbon note might actually be like really apropos, because there is something here that is caramely, that's carameled, and that is almost goes a little bit savory, as in like a brown butter or something like that. And although it's not boozy, I can see why the bourbon thing would kind of take it in a less fresh, fruity kind of way to more of like a stewed or macerated kind of pear. And the spices are there too, but definitely not overwhelmed by spices. I would say it's a lot of brown sugar, caramel, pear kind of thing, and it's gorgeous, super autumnal, but without, like I said, being so generic, you know? It's really lovely. I think a lot of people will like this one. Let's go to Tobacco Vanilla, which is a big seller for them. Tobacco Vanilla, and it's this beautiful like slate gray, almost a little bit blue. Oh, so beautiful. Look at that. It's just so cool, so simple, so, I don't know. Wow, this is unique. All right, Tobacco Vanilla, the notes are, it's an earthy combination of tobacco leaves, pine, patchouli, and oak moss, mingled with smoky notes of burnt caramel, sugar, and marshmallow. It's a very unique fragrance. So I think that there's a lot of like sugar, marshmallow, and smokiness here, but it's not a traditional smokiness. It is more like a burnt sugar kind of taste, Freudian slip. There is something almost gourmand about this candle, and in a very weird way, almost a little bit like chocolate donut-like devil's food cake. I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's the combination of the musk, because apparently there's some musk in there, and there's oak moss. Yeah, there's just something like deep and low, like the muskiness combined with like the sugar. I don't know, I can't explain it. I'm getting no pine. I'm getting very little in the way of like tobacco leaves or patchouli, but there is something earthy about it. Oh, it's so unique. And I would be the one to dislike this because it does go almost gourmand. But man, I love it. It's like one of those marshmallow candles with a twist, with a dark twist, and I am here for it. I believe that this one is a bestseller for them, and I have heard from other reviewers that this one has good strength and throw. Some of their candles are plagued with not enough strength and throw, and I fully expect that even some of the ones that I keep are going to disappoint me in terms of strength and throw. I'm really hoping for the best here because I have heard good things about this one. So that's great. Okay, we have 4 more left, 4 more. We can do this. Fall Leaves. And it's this beautiful, like a burnt red, burnt crimson, deep. This is a candle that I was definitely going to return, and I've changed my mind on it. I'm going to return the Blackberry Honey. I'm going to keep this one. Fall Leaves. Man, you guys are going to love this one. Be ready for it. It's a kaleidoscope of crisp fall leaves, enhanced with woodland herbs and redwood bark. And it has fruity touches of harvest apple and pumpkin. Again, on paper, right? Sign me up. I was going to return this one because I thought it was a little generic. It is bold. It's a bold candle. It's even more bold than the Bourbon Pear one. It is very traditional, quintessential autumn, which is why it leans a little generic. It's a big fruity apple pop, real fruity, punchy. And then there is kind of this like craft store spice element that goes along with it. And maybe a little bit of vague woodiness as well. So I'm not like a huge leaves person from Bath & Body Works, but I think this is definitely in the genre of leaves from Bath & Body Works, and it might even be a dupe for it. I just feel like leaves from Bath & Body Works is like sharper. And although the notes don't indicate it, isn't there like a kind of a coolness about Bath & Body Works leaves? I don't know. There's no coolness here. This is all like warm, like apple clove kind of territory. Yeah, it's a super fresh and juicy apple though. I think I'm gonna keep this one because it is like just kind of beautiful, quintessential, and I do kind of like this better than, I know when I smell Bath & Body Works leaves, I'm like, ugh, I just can't do it, right? Let me shout out this one too. I know I have it. Yes, I do. This was, again, spoiler alert, this is a Kringle and it's called Leaf Peeper. And I have it in the daylight, and this is supposed to be some sort of distant dupe of, actually, most of the reviewers so far have said that it's a dead-on dupe for Bath & Body Works leaves. And my friends, if that's the case, definitely pick this rather than this one. This is like not good. It's not fruity the way that this one is. Like the apple just doesn't come out the right way. It's super faded. If you want something like Bath & Body Works leaves, either get Bath & Body Works leaves or get this one, because I actually think that you'll be very happy with this one. This one has all of the boldness and the juiciness that Leaf Peepers does not have. And I will be doing a review on this fall haul for a Kringle, so I know I'm anticipating a little bit, but like when I went back and smelled this today after burning this very unsuccessfully, I'm not only gonna keep this one, but I can highly recommend it over that Leaf Peeper for sure. Okay, and then we have 3 more. Ginger Patchouli, which looks like this. This like kind of weird greenish brown color. It's not very pretty, but you know, it's a color. It's a color and it's earthy. Looks like that. Kind of like latte-like almost, but it's got maybe too much green in it. It would be like a very suspicious looking latte. The notes for ginger and patchouli are sensuous blend of ginger, cloves, mace, and patchouli, softened with geranium. When I saw that on paper, I'm like, well, I don't know that you would soften anything with geranium. Geranium is a really funky, like, floral note. That's not a floral note that, like, softens anything. That, like, adds a dimension that, in turn, also needs to be softened. This is a very strange candle. As with some of the marine ones at the top, I don't know that I'm smelling anything ginger or patchouli. So probably badly named candle. If you were just to smell it, like you wouldn't think like, oh, there's ginger, oh, there's patchouli, or anything even close. To be honest, there's something about it that's almost cola-like, like soda pop, or like root beer-like maybe, which is like, ginger is a root, so there is a little bit of a similarity there, but it doesn't have the bitiness of ginger. It's like a sweet, mellow kind of root beer with, again, that kind of weird chocolate donut note in the background. It's bizarre. Is there something floral? Yeah, maybe. It's got this like kind of spiciness with a floral, but it's more than the sum of its parts, because when the floral and the spice get together, then it's like, now we're root beer. I know that sounds absurd and ridiculous. You're gonna have to smell this one. This one doesn't smell like it's gonna give you that much of a throw or a strength, but then I saw a review and it was like, it's too strong in my house, I hate it. Maybe they just hated the smell of it, in which case, when you hate a smell, it is definitely too strong. It's just already there, way too strong, because you just don't want to smell it. Okay, last two, and they are both pumpkin candles. I will show them to you in tandem. Look at that. Green and, I'll take the more traditional color. The more traditional first is pumpkin spice, and it's like this deep orange color. This is gonna be the one that I think a lot of you guys are gonna like. I'm returning it, but it's not because it's a bad candle, it's that it's like way too gourmand for me. And so I know that a lot of you are gonna love this one. Listen closely. Fresh pumpkin with ground cinnamon and nutmeg and clove and ginger. All the traditional usual suspects. Pumpkin puree. I really appreciate the fact that they have a distinction between the fresh pumpkin and the pumpkin puree, because those are slightly different scent notes. Infused with brown sugar, vanilla cream, and musk. Not getting a whole lot of musk in here. Unless their musk smells like devil's food cake chocolate donut, which I know that I've talked about that in several of these candles. This is the strongest chocolate one. Like, this candle, for me personally, is a cross between a pumpkin donut and a chocolate devil's food donut. And I know a lot of you could get behind that. So there is something almost bakery note here, and I don't know where that bakery note is coming from. It reminds me like the pumpkin spice latte from Bath & Body Works has like a weird chocolate overtone to it. And honestly, I think pumpkin spice latte from Starbucks is the same way. I don't really like it very much, but there is this like weird chocolatey like note in it. Not only that you taste, but that you can also smell. And this goes there. So it's like very authentic. Gosh, I almost like it. I don't do chocolate candles though, and you know I don't do donut candles. This is a very bold candle. Oh man, it's one that I think everybody is gonna love so much. Yeah, I mean, almost donut-like with all the traditional pumpkin spices. Super bold, super unembarrassed. Like I said, I'm returning it because I'm just not a gourmand girl. I just don't do it. It's a non-starter for me, but I can objectively recommend this to you all because I think most of you are going to really, really like it. That ends us with our last one here, which is Heirloom Pumpkin. And I know it's weird that it's a green color. Again, very like non-traditional, not literal, but I really kind of like it actually too, because I think it's a beautiful color green, and everything can't be orange. Like everything doesn't need to be orange. You have enough orange candles, right? I'm keeping this one. Oh, so beautiful. It is an almost gourmand. Okay, so the notes here are creamy pumpkin sprinkled with spicy cinnamon, ground nutmeg, wrapped in bourbon brown sugar. And as with a note in a couple of these, you have like a salted, deep brown butter kind of smell. That's, I think, passing for their bourbon note. So not boozy in that sense. It's almost savory, like it's salty, you know? And it almost goes the direction of something not gourmand, like amber, or I wouldn't say sandalwood per se, but it's kind of in that genre, which is why I call it an almost gourmand, although many people would just call it straight up gourmand. So Heirloom Pumpkin is a winner for me. It is super spicy. Oh, but it is like I said, it's dominated with those deep caramelized brown butter kind of thing. And you know I'm not a gourmand person, but man, this is gorgeous. This is a dupe, I think, of a very successful candle from Times Times is the one that does the Fraser fir. Times has Heirloom Pumpkin spelled a little bit differently. Very similar candle. This one has maybe a little bit more spice than the Heirloom Pumpkin from Root, but it's very similar, very similar. There's more deeper, saltier, caramelized pumpkin smell in this. I love them both. I really do. I might even love this one a little bit better. Oh man, they're both gorgeous. They're absolutely gorgeous, and they're very similar to each other. So 2 Heirloom Pumpkins here. Highly, highly recommend. This one's a little less expensive, even full priced to the Times. The Times candles, they're a luxury candle company, and you're gonna pay a pretty penny. I mean, even this was, I think, like 10 or 12 bucks. Just this little like 2-ounce thing, right? And especially if you can get this on sale, it will be a much better price. You've got the 3 wicks. Done. Keeping that one. All right, my friends, I know that was a super, super long video. The ones I'm returning are probably the 2 blues right here. And I'm also returning Blackberry, and I'm also returning Pumpkin Spice, because it's not because it's a bad candle or a badly executed candle, but because I'm just not a gourmand person. So little asterisk right there, because a lot of you are gonna love this Pumpkin Spice. All the rest I'm probably gonna keep. There are some weird ones here, and there are ones that I like better than others, but I think it was a really impressive haul. I'm keeping way more than I thought I was going to keep. So let's see how they burn. Look for fairly soon the 2 summer candles, which is the Grapefruit and the Coastal Sunrise. Look for those very soon, because I gotta burn them now. It's the high weeks of summer of August, and we gotta start transitioning to pears and apples by the end of the month. So I gotta get those summer burns in. Thank you so much for joining me, my friends. I am gonna link below just the whole page to the Macy's Root candles. They're obviously come in lots of different sizes and formats, so you can try them a lot of different ways. I just like 3 wicks, and especially where their formula has struggled a little bit with strength and throw, you wanna make sure that you're giving yourself the best opportunity for strength and throw in your house. So I really highly recommend this particular vessel, but obviously there are others available. I'll also link below the Root website, and you can navigate and find all of these as well. The only one that looks like it's being discontinued is this one, and therefore it's clearanced off at $10 for that particular variety. You might want to check it out. Thank you, my friends, and I'll see you in the next one.